Well, a very, very happy Wednesday morning to everyone, and welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a great week as we get to Hump Day, and going to be a big day for our San Diego Padres as they're getting ready to take on the Marlins in the rubber game of the three-game series. We're going to break it all down for you, but I want to remind everyone, if you're tuning in for the very, very first time, or maybe you've tuned in before and haven't taken the time to do it, it doesn't cost a cent. Would you please subscribe to the channel and like it? And please send your comments in as well. Again, we're on uh, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And San Diego Sports Talk. Just go to Google, write in San Diego Sports Talk, YouTube, and boom, you'll find our program Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Occasionally, we'll change it up. If the Padres have an off day on a Thursday, we'll do a night show to get some other people maybe that aren't allowed to tune in on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. But all's good. And again, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. And always looking to get more people acquainted. And we put a lot of stuff up. We don't, just put stuff up to put it up. We try to put some things up that people find relevant. But again, very much appreciate if you'd subscribe to the program, like it, and send your comments in. The other day, I was telling Jonathan Oliveri, who produces and directs the program and comes on the program from time to time. We did roll call the other day, and it really went well. We had people from all over the country that jumped in the other day, so we'll do that again here real soon. But really appreciate all the great compliments we've gotten on this podcast. I had no idea where this was headed when we started a little over a year ago, and it has really grown and doing very, very well. And we talk primarily Padres, but as we get into college football, we'll talk about the Aztecs, and of course, we'll talk about some of the other things that are going on around the San Diego and Southern California area. We're going to get to the Padres in great length, but I've got to get this off my chest a little bit. I knew the Chargers were coming back to San Diego to train for a couple of days, Tuesday and Wednesday, out at USD. And this has been, I think, a very interesting marketing campaign by the Los Angeles Chargers. Over the last few years, they've had players that have come down and done, little football camps in the San Diego area to kind of keep their name out there a little bit. I have a hard time with the Chargers. I really do. I was a kid that grew up in San Diego, went to my first game at Balboa Stadium, of course, covered the Chargers for many, many years, did their post-game talk show, knew a lot of the players, ate lunch with a lot of the players. And to this day, when I see them around town, I think there's good memories on both sides of the ledger because I was always very, very fair with the Charger players. And that 94 team that went to the Super Bowl, I was real tight with those guys. Really a great group of guys. Bobby Ross, 88 years of age now, doing great. Saw a picture of him the other day when I had breakfast with the radio legends. I put that picture up on the program the other day. Bobby's doing great, and he's such a great man. But the Chargers are taking advantage of Jim Harbaugh having coached at USD for 3 seasons. Okay, they said they're going to come down. Last year, they came down to Camp Pendleton. Everything is a controlled environment. Unless you're military, you can't get on the base at Camp Pendleton. So, Joe Fan, like you and me, we couldn't go out there to watch them work out. Same thing at USD. Tuesday, military families, and that's great. It gives them an opportunity to be around NFL players, a great motivator for the kids. A lot of good things come of it. But again, they're trying to get that hook into you to buy into Charger football. Now, today, Wednesday, you can go if you're a San Diego fan who buys season tickets for the LA Chargers. And they've also got LA fans coming down to be there. And I guarantee you this is going to be staged. I guarantee you today will be staged because there aren't that many fans. Yeah, they got some fans that are still driving up to SoFi Stadium on Sunday, and more power to them. I give them a lot of credit for doing that. I would not be that guy. I have not gone to one Charger game, and I've been invited each and every year, and they're going into their 9th season up at SoFi Stadium. I could go up anytime I want, but I choose not to. I'm kind of like the LA fans prior to the Rams and the Chargers coming back. I like to sit at home, watch the two games, then watch Sunday Night Football and get ready for Monday. But today, it's for season ticket holders from San Diego, and I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of LA fans that are coming down to watch the practice. Okay? But then this has been like a whole week of this. Okay? And I want your opinion on this. Is this good, bad, or indifferent? How do you look at it? I'm not a Charger fan. I'm not a Charger fan. If they came back to San Diego, I'd be a Charger fan. Okay? With or without the Spanos family owning it. If they came back to San Diego, I'd be a Charger fan. And who knows? Maybe they're going to get that 50,000 seat stadium built down in Chula Vista. Again, I've heard that before, but you're not going to build a 50,000 seat stadium unless you know a team is coming, and a team's not coming unless they have a stadium. So, but anyways, let's go back over the last week here. Okay, a week ago, the Chargers unveiled their throwback uniforms honoring the San Diego era. Okay? What's that about? What is that about? And then Monday, they get Phillip Rivers to put a retirement video up the day before they're going to work out in San Diego. Tell me that wasn't staged, and I love Phillip. I think we all love Phillip. But that was staged, and Phillip's going to go into the Hall of Fame. So he got to keep a good relationship with the Charger organization. He's not going to go in as an Indianapolis Colt. He played 1 year for him. And then they got to work out yesterday, honoring the local service members and their families, and that's all good. Today, a practice open to San Diegans who have season tickets for the Chargers, and I guarantee you there are going to be people coming down from LA that are season ticket holders. Okay, and then we know Antonio Gates is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame next week. So what they're basically trying to do is they're trying to get their hooks into you to buy into Charger football again. You know, this is going to be the 9th year the Chargers have been in LA. There's nobody on the team that was in San Diego. Okay? Just a marketing push, all controlled, and trying to get their hooks back into you San Diego football fans. So be it. If you want to be a Charger fan, so be it. Enjoy. But again, if it was open to the public, I would think that was cool. But this is all a controlled environment because they don't want people to come out and heckle the organization. You think Dean Spanos or John Spanos or A.G. Spanos, they'll show up, I would imagine, for this. I don't know if Dean will, but I think the one or both of the sons might show up. But they wouldn't show up if Joe Fan was allowed to go out there because there'd be a group of fans that would get on them pretty good. So everything they do in San Diego is controlled. Totally controlled. Even going back to when LaDainian Tomlinson had a press conference once upon a time, they controlled who could come out to that event. So it is what it is. But kind of a slap in the face, I think. Even my wife goes, "What the hell are they doing?" Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to find fans because you ever watch games or go to games? A big percentage of the audience that shows up are the opposing ball club. And they still got 15-year lease with Stan Kroenke up there at SoFi Stadium. But I guarantee you this, if they could find a stadium in San Diego and wanted to move back, Stan Kroenke would probably pay for them to move back. He doesn't want them in their stadium. Why would the Chargers even want to be in that stadium? It's the Rams Stadium. So it is what it is. But give me your opinion on that. But just really kind of sickens me, this whole situation. Okay, today at Lone Depot Park, rubber game. Right-hander Dylan Cease, 3-9, coming off a great start last time out. 4.64 ERA going against former Cy Young Award winner. Trying to get back to that after coming off of Tommy John. Sandy Alcantara, 4-9 in a 7-14. You would hope the Padres could win this ball game. Padres, man, they're not swinging the bat very well at all. They've been out hit in the first 2 games. They've got a total of 10 hits in 2 games against the Marlins. Monday night, they won 2-1. Jackson Merrill, RBI single. Martin Maldonado had a RBI double. In fact, in the last 3 games Martin Maldonado's played, he's had 3 doubles. So swinging the bat a little bit better, but still well under 200. I thought Randy Vasquez was effectively wild the other night. Didn't have his great stuff. Mike Schill pulled him after 4 1/3. Bullpen went out, did a hell of a job. 4 2/3, only gave up a couple of hits and no runs, and they eked out a 2-1 victory. They hung on by the skin of their teeth. I got to tell you, Manny Machado, aside from that grand slam that he hit early in the road trip, um, he's struggling. 2 for 19 going into the game on Wednesday. 2 for 19. So a nice ball game on Monday. How about the crowd at Lone Depot Park? 11,128. They did a little bit better on Tuesday night. They had 11,621. Padres, they had a chance. They had a chance. They get beat 4-3. They trailed 4-1 going to the ninth. And this is a game that sticks in your craw because this is a ball game you could have won and probably should have won. But they trailed 4-1 going to the top of the ninth. Gavin Sheets walks as leadoff hitter. Bogarts doubles to left. Runners on second and third. Jackson Merrill comes up and really starting to show some life. He hits a 2-run double, so he's on second. It's 4-3. Nobody out. You got to find a way to get that guy to third base. Well, Cronenworth pops up to the shortstop. Jose Iglesias looked absolutely awful on 3 pitches and struck out on a sweeper that was 3 feet outside. And then Trenton Brooks, a pinch hitter for Martin Maldonado, popped out to shortstop to end the ball game. And how about this? You pinch hit for your light hitting catcher with Trenton Brooks, who's a left-hand hitter, and it was the right move. But going into that bat, Trenton Brooks is 0 for 12, now 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That's what you have on your bench right now. And I don't want to pick on him, but the bench is so weak. So weak. I thought Cabrera threw a good ball game. He's a talented guy from Miami, and he may be getting traded. He went 5 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 6 strikeouts, did hit Gavin Sheets. He was solid. Kolek got off to a rough start after being recalled from AAA, but I thought he pitched pretty well as he got through the later innings. He went 5 2/3, gave up a total of 8 hits, but he'd given up 6 hits in the first 3 innings. But 5 2/3, 8 hits, 3 runs, all earned, a walk, 5 strikeouts, hit Wagaman. Wandy Peralta, an inning to hit. David Morgan, that run he gave up in the 8th was a killer. He won an inning and a third, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, couple of strikeouts. Morgan's pitched well. He hadn't given up a run in a long time, so you're not going to get on him. But that run came back to bite him. Offensively, Luis Ariz, 18th double, 2 for 4. A lot of 0 for 4s in this ball game. Manny 0 for 4. Fernando 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Iglesias 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So kind of a rough game for the Padres. A game that they were out hit. I said they only had 10 hits. They've got 12 hits. They actually got a couple hits there in that last inning. So they were out hit last night, 11-7. Okay, let's get down to Joe Musgrove. Joe is making great progress, and I know he wants to come back. And he may come back during the regular season, and depending on how he's pitching, the Padres would have to make a decision because he'd have to work out of the bullpen, and this bullpen's awful good. And I don't know if Joe obviously could probably not pitch on back-to-back days. So, we got to temper our enthusiasm. And I think Joe's realistic, but he's going to throw a bullpen next week. He's been throwing quite a bit. He's been throwing with a catcher up. But next week, the catcher's going to get down and he's going to throw full-fledged bullpen. And it won't be 100%, okay? But he's got to have that goal in mind that he wants to, come back. And I think 2 reasons. You'd love to have him, especially when the rosters expand, because then you can kind of protect him a little bit. And he's not going to take somebody else's roster spot. In September, you can add 2 roster spots. But the other thing, it's more psychological, mentally. You want to be able to come back and go into that offseason, know that you've come back and pitched in a major league game or 2. So we'll see where it goes. But again, I think it's kind of day to day. We'll wait and see how that goes. After today's ball game, and hopefully the Padres can get this. Right now they're 3-2 on this road trip. They got 4 games coming up in St. Louis. And when they get to St. Louis in game 1, They're going to have to get off to a good start. I'll tell you what, St. Louis is not great, but St. Louis is one of these teams that they'll gnaw at you. They'll continue to, fight and claw. And in game one, Yu Darvish going to be making his fourth start, 0-2 and a 6.08 ERA, going against right-hander Sonny Gray, 9-4 in a 4.04. And this is the time of year where Sonny Gray's name's always thrown around in trade rumors. So that's the matchup for Thursday. Padres haven't named starters for the other three games. Then they'll be back home on Monday night. Okay, I want to get early today. I want to get to questions. If you've got questions regarding the Chargers, I made my statement on the Chargers. We can talk about the Padres. We're going to get into the trading deadline coming down on July 31st at 3 o'clock. But I want to get out to our coaches' crew questions early today. And I appreciate everyone tuning in. Let's roll them right now. Casey, Chargers don't belong in LA, and Rams got more fans in LA than the Chargers do. Horrible. What Chargers are doing, and typical what Dean Spanos is doing. Chargers need to be sold and move back to San Diego. Casey, I think that would be great. We'll see where it goes. I don't see them selling anytime soon. They're still making money up there, believe it or not, but they've not made really any inroads at all. No inroads really at all up there. I mean, they're not more popular than the Rams, or certainly not more popular than the Dodgers, Lakers, or USC football. It's just not happening. I mean, LA Galaxy, LAFC are probably more popular than the Chargers. The Chargers are kind of like they play 17 road games a year, it seems like. And they can dress the stadium up and do all the pomp and circumstances, but they're like visitors still. They're going into their ninth year up there, and they're still very much visitors. And I talk to people after every game that go, and I get feedback. And it's just not the same. And the thing you got to remember, San Diego fans were great. Charger fans were unbelievably great. And they showed up, and you can say, oh, yeah, well, there were a lot of Chiefs fans, a lot of Raider fans. Yeah, there were. But they also sold out a 60,000 seat stadium on a regular basis. And people on Fridays, think about this, on Fridays, you go to the bank, you go to a convenience store, you go wherever you'd go, people were wearing Charger colors on game day. And if the Chargers got beat on a Sunday, everybody went to work on Monday in kind of a foul mood, because we lived and died Charger football in this town. I mean, everybody always loved the Padres, and of course, I love the Padres. Uh, but football's a different animal. Football's a different animal to be a fan of, and it's certainly a different animal to coach. I can't begin to tell you, as much baseball as I coached at all the different levels I coached. Coaching high school football took so much out of me. My wife said she was glad that I didn't stay a football coach very long in high school. She goes, "You'd have been dead." Because I'm one of these guys that works around the clock, and I never wanted to be outworked and have another team better prepared than my team. And she goes, "Man, you'd have died young." But as a football fan, when that game is over on Sunday or Monday night, man, your body just kind of relaxes. You're really tired and fatigued, because mentally, football is just a different aspect mentally than basketball or baseball or any other sport for that matter. But, I don't see the Chargers coming back. I would love to see them come back. I'd love to see an NFL team. I'd love to be the Chargers, but I just love to have NFL football back in San Diego. That's kind of my thoughts on that. Casey, thank you very much. Yeah, it's just a marketing ploy. Coach, I had season tickets for 26 years. I would have given up my right arm for that team. When they left, I became a fan of every team that plays the Chargers. I'd rather eat glass than cheer for them. Michael, my wife said to me last year, she goes, "Man, I thought when the Chargers moved, you wouldn't look to watch every one of their games the way you do." I go, "Well, I do. I root for the team, whoever they're playing, I root for that team." And how about some of the meltdowns? I mean, Harbaugh had a pretty good year last year. Got a great quarterback. They've got some good pieces on that football team. That's a talented football team. It really is. But I can't root for them. I can't root for them. And they still, every once in a while, they have those unexplicable meltdowns. I mean, they charge her. It's amazing. I watched a lot of my colleagues on TV last night, and they have to rah-rah and sing the praises The Chargers coming back. You know what? I get it, but I'm not that guy. I'm sorry. I can't be that guy. I wasn't that guy on the radio. I tell it the way it is. And now everybody is happy talk. Happy talk. I mean, and I'm not going to pick on Manny. You know that Manny has more errors than anybody in the National League at third base this year. Nobody ever talks about that. He made his 13th error last night. Now, everybody always likes to compare him to Arenado defensively. And Arenado's won 10 gold gloves. Manny's won 2, and he hadn't won one in the National League. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm picking on Manny because I really don't want to. But it's just like broadcast, they don't talk about this. I mean, he made his 13th error last night. Arenado's made 3 errors and 1 less chance all year. So I don't think Manny's going to be wearing a gold glove. I mean, he makes some unbelievable Hall of Fame type plays. But, you know, if a guy's not playing well or he's having a struggle, it's okay. We're all human. We make mistakes on the podcast. We make mistakes on the radio. We make mistakes on TV. But you know what? Don't tell me how great a guy is and build it up. But also tell me, you know, hey, he struggled a little bit at times this year defensively. He made 13 errors. That's okay. It's a fact. You know, we're not going to take White out and erase that he made 13 errors. But everything now has to be happy talk. Don't give the other guy on the other team any credit for anything. That's a problem with announcers these days. Play-by-play guys and color analysts, they kiss everybody's ass. I mean, be honest. Don't lie to the people that are taking time out of their day to watch you or listen to you. Be honest with them. Tell them what you're seeing. Tell them what's going on. You know, my philosophy, if you don't like what I'm saying, play better. That was always my philosophy. When I did the Charger post-game show, when I did the Padre post-game show for all those years. And you know what? Nobody ever got on me. None of the players ever got on me. I had one run-in with Jake Peavy, and it was a misunderstanding. He had tuned in and really didn't hear the entire complexity of what I said. And Jake and we hashed it out the next day. And I went to the ballpark, and I made sure that he came down to see me, and we had a nice talk, gave him a hug, a handshake, and we got a great relationship. That was the only player in all the years that we had a misunderstanding, and it was because Jake came in late and he personalized something that I said. I wasn't even talking about him, and we hashed it out the next day. And I made sure to get to the ballpark plenty early to make sure that he understood actually what I said. And we got a great relationship now. And he's back part of the Padre organization and doing a great job on the MLB network. But hey, you know what? If you make a bad play, you make a bad play. We've all made a bad play. I don't have a problem with that. But as far as the Chargers, man, I got some great memories going out to UC San Diego. I remember going out to when they practiced in Escondido back in the 60s. I'll never forget. My brother was living in Escondido, and we made a big deal. He was going to take me to Charger camp. We went out there, and they had the big wall up there and this big, heavy door you had to open up, and we opened it up, and all the tackling bags were there and the sleds. And this guy came over wearing a Charger shirt and goes, "What are you guys doing?" "Oh, we came to watch the afternoon practice." And my brother goes, "Yeah, I wanted to see my little brother wanted to watch practice." He goes, "Well, I hate to tell you guys, practice has gotten canceled." I was brokenhearted. That was like in 1965 or 66, I think. I was absolutely brokenhearted. But hey, later on, I got to cover the Chargers on a regular basis. And it was a real thrill. And to be able to go in the clubhouse and sit and talk to the offensive lineman or eat lunch with Rodney Harrison when he was a rookie in 1994. A lot of fun stuff. But man, they're just a memory, a great memory. And now I have no love whatsoever for that organization. But and they're trying to use San Diego as a pawn, quite frankly. All right, Jason, I was one of those people. I would not be able to listen or watch anything about the Chargers after a loss. I grew up loving the team, but once they left for LA, I never rooted for them again. I think you're like a lot of people. The other thing, I remember when Don Coryell was the coach, and you know, I was just coming out of high school. And I graduated in 76, so, you know, 78, 79, 80, 81, they were really good. They scored a ton of points. And when they would lose a game, I was like almost physically ill because we expected them to win. Unfortunately, they didn't have great defense. I mean, offense, they could outscore anybody. That's still one of the greatest, if not the greatest offense in the world when Fouts and had, first John Jefferson, then Wes Chandler and Charlie Joyner and Kellen Winslow. They'd bring Bobby Duckworth in and they'd throw a long pass to Bobby Duckworth for 40 or 50 or 60 yards, and you wouldn't see him the rest of the game because they had all these other Hall of Fame guys and Pete Holohan and Eric Severs, tight ends. I mean, Holohan had some of the best hands you'd ever want to see. And then they had big Chuck Muncie in the backfield. And before they traded him to Cincinnati, James Brooks, and I could go on and on and on, and the great offensive line they had, the great defensive line, just couldn't stop people. They had a great defensive line, but they couldn't stop people. It was just very unfortunate. But I hear your pain on that, Jason. All right, let's keep rolling here. What do we got today? What do we got? Dan Cilio show. How about that, Coach? It's great to see you on here. My trade idea is you for Donna Ursillo in the booth calling Padre games. The fans need more, Coach. Dan, I appreciate that. I don't know if I'd want to be a play-by-play guy, Dan, but I certainly could be a color analyst. And I did that for the Big West this past year. Did 8 games in 5 days. Had a great time. Love Padre baseball, even though it's very, very frustrating at times. I don't know where this franchise, quite frankly, is going right now, and we're going to get into the trade deadline here in a few minutes. But Dan, I'm glad you're doing well, my friend. You and I have always gotten along very, very well, and I got good memories of the short time I got the opportunity to work with you, and hope the wife and daughter are doing well. You're a good man. Always enjoyed our professional and personal relationship. So thanks for tuning in, and keep up all the great work. Dan Cilio, good guy, man. He's another guy. He tells it the way it is. You got to love that. And I know he probably rankled a few feathers here in San Diego, but hey, you know what? Sometimes the truth hurts. Okay, let's get to the trading deadline. Coming down on July 31st. We're going to see what the Padres are going to be able to do. It's kind of interesting. Tom Krasovic and Kevin Acee, a lot of good stuff on the Padres. As usual, I mean, those guys work hard, and Kevin travels with the ball club, and Tom Krasovic covered the Padres for many, many years, and he's doing a lot of stuff with soccer now and with NFL football. But Kevin yesterday put in his column, one of the things he's hearing right now is the Padres are not, I repeat, not really maybe looking for a catcher. They're happy with what these guys are doing. I think Mike Schultz in love with these catchers, even though neither one of them are hitting 200 right now. And I know every once in a while they'll run into a home run or a double. And I mentioned Maldonado's got 3 doubles in his last 3 games. But both these guys are hitting well under 200. But they don't want to upset the apple cart with the pitching staff. They're territorial, and they don't want to upset the apple cart right now. So it sounds like they're going to stay with what they've got. They're not going to deviate and stay with Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz unless, they have something that, somebody approaches them on it. And then I think you're going to have to get Mike Schultz to buy in. Mike Schultz, I think, is the fly in the ointment here. He does not want to mess with the catching situation. And I get that to a certain degree, but man, they got to get better. This team will make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, I'll be very disappointed. But again, they've only one game over 500 since May 1st. One game over 500. They got off to that great start where they went 5-0 in March and 14-11 in April, and they're still living off of that. One game over 500 since May 1st. We do believe, though, they're looking for a bat. Now, who that would be, I don't know. We've heard Jern Duran's name. I'm going to throw out some names here in a minute. But it looks like they are looking for a bat, and I got to believe they're looking for an arm. You can't rely on Yu Darvish. I'm watching the MLB Network, and I think they do an incredible job. I mean, some of their guys rankle me a little bit when they talk about the Padres because they really haven't done the deep dive, and they haven't talked to anybody out here that knows what's really going on with the Padres. They go, well, Yu Darvish is back. Well, Yu Darvish is back, but Yu Darvish is pitching at a 6 ERA right now. Just because a guy comes back doesn't mean all of a sudden, he found the fountain of youth and he's going to be great again. It's like when Joe comes back. My expectations of Joe Musgrove this year are that much. Zero. Because he's coming back from a serious Tommy John surgery. And it's going to take time. And when you come back from Tommy John surgery, the last thing to come is your command. And, I'm just using Joe as an example right now, but the MLB network, they'll say, well, they're getting this guy back. They're getting that guy back, but they don't know if that guy's 100% or not. Darvish is not the same Darvish. Just because his name is penciled in doesn't mean he's going to be a great pitcher again. And you read the article last week about Darvish. Darvish said, I didn't know if I was going to come back. He's going to be 39 years of age. And we got him under contract for 2028 is his last year under contract. Between now and then, the Padres owe him $63 million. Do you think they're really going to get $63 million out of Darvish? That production? No way. He probably should retire at the end of this year. Or the Padres ought to go to him and say, hey, do you want to continue to pitch? Let's work out a buyout. I mean, it'd be great if he would retire. It'd open up some money. But just because a guy comes back doesn't mean he's the same old guy. He's damaged goods. He's always going to be damaged goods. It's like with Ohtani. Every time Ohtani throws a pitch, he looked mediocre. It wasn't great the other night. But every time he throws a pitch, it could be his last pitch. He's had 2 serious arm operations already. And if you're a pitcher, it's only a matter of time. If you're able to get through your entire career without a serious injury, man, I'll tell you what, the guy on the right shoulder was taking good care of you. Because if you're a pitcher, it's only a matter of time before you have some type of arm injury. Our body was not made to throw a baseball 95 to 100 miles an hour. But when a guy comes back, it doesn't necessarily mean he's coming back and going to be the same old guy. But the other thing, and this is going to be the telltale sign, July 31st at 3 o'clock, it says that the trade deadline comes down. Now, nothing's happened. We know AJ's got an itchy trigger. We know he wants to make some moves. But I love the comment in the paper yesterday, and I'll read it. In yesterday's paper, quote, said some team talks, this is from inside, say the Padres are inclined to rely on A.J. Preller's creativity opposed to throwing money at their offensive shortcomings. Well, what that tells me, and I'm going to read a little bit more here in a minute, tells me they don't want to spend money. That tells me there could be an issue. They're already going to have to pay about $4 million unless they can get under that. That's why I think somebody is going to go that's making halfway decent money. Maybe Cronenworth. His name has been thrown about. Because right now, where they're at, if they finish the year right now, they'd owe about $4 million in the payroll threshold going over a certain number, over $211 million. They'd owe about $4 million. They don't want to pay that $4 million. Heck, $4 million is like a utility infielder these days. So it sounds like to me, AJ is going to have to be very creative. That means you're probably going to end up losing one of your better prospects, and you may end up losing somebody on your major league roster. Now, I'll be honest with you, Cronenworth's an average major league player for me. He's a little bit, in OPS plus, he's about, going into last night's game, he was about 112. Last couple of years, I think he was under 100. I think he was, close to 100. And on OPS plus, and that's a number that I like to look at because 100 is major league average. Last couple of years, he'd been under. He's still living off his first year. If you look at OPS plus, take a look at Cronenworth's OPS plus for his career, and he's living off the COVID year, where they played 60 games against the American League West and the National League West, seeing the same guys over and over and over. He's still living off of that. And he's an average major league player for me. And he's making not a tremendous amount of money, but a good enough money to where you could move him, come up. It'd be nice if the Padres could develop their own guys in the middle infield here in the next year or two, but I don't see that happening. But I could see Cronenworth going. And you know what? There's some teams out there that probably look at Cronenworth and go, you know what? We can make this guy better. I mean, once upon a time, Cronenworth drove in a lot of runs. Not driving in a lot of runs now. Every once in a while, he hit a double or hit a home run. You get excited about it, but then, he's hitting 240, 247 career hitter. That's nothing to write home about. And, what's he hitting? 243 going into today, I think. But it sounds like to me, the Padres want to get under that payroll threshold, and AJ really doesn't have a lot to offer because the farm system is so bare compared to where it was even 2 years ago. So it is what it is. There we're at. We're right there at that. Okay, now I want to get to a few guys that are probably going to be going bye-bye. Eugenio Suarez, he's not in the mix for the Padres. Probably going to get traded. I don't see the Diamondbacks being a player. They've got to go over the Giants. They got to go over the Padres. They're not going to get to the Dodgers, by the way, are unbelievable. They've dropped 11 of 14, and they look terrible. They had a bunch of bullpen guys last night that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And then Henriquez, who they brought up because Tanner Scott went on the IL. By the way, Tanner Scott's been awful. They signed him, 4 years, $72 million. He's been beyond awful this year. Well, he gets hurt the other night. Got inflammation in his elbow. They said structurally, the ulnar collateral ligament, all good, but he's on the IL. And they brought Henriquez up, and he gets a little worm burner out in front of the plate, throws it down the right field line, 3-run score. Will Klein couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Kasperius came in early in the game after Yamamoto got through 5. Kasperius was awful. He ended up leaving with a right calf problem. They're going to give him an MRI today. Mookie Betts looks like a shell of himself. Worst year he's ever had offensively. Looks like a lost puppy. Dodger fans starting to get on him saying, you know what, maybe he had to just go do podcast and bowl every day. He played a great shortstop, though, but offensively, just terrible. Can't get on the top of a ball, hit a line drive, will try to lift everything. Freddie Freeman trying to find himself right now. He's still not 100%. He looks terrible at the plate. Ohtani hit some home runs, but not hitting for much of an average. Dodgers got a lot of problems. They're trying to get Blake Snell back. We'll see if that happens. But Eugenio Suarez, Yankees, Cubs, Seattle, Milwaukee, Detroit, San Francisco, all on the slate for him. Stephen Kwan. Now, this is an interesting guy for me. I would love Stephen Kwan here in San Diego. He's a 2-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, but I don't know why Cleveland would want to trade this guy. He's got 2 more seasons under control, and I know the Phils are interested, the Mets, Cincinnati, Toronto, Padres, Dodgers. There was talk last week that the Dodgers were trying to work a deal with Cleveland, not only for Stephen Kwan, but for Emmanuel Clase, a guy that's led the American League each of the last 2 years in saves and used to be a Padre farmhand once upon a time. Jarren Duran, that's the name we've heard the most recently. Boston, they've got all kinds of young guys. They got Roman Anthony, they got Cedane Rafaela, Wilyer Abreu, Duran, Padres, Atlanta, Cleveland, Kansas City, San Francisco, Philadelphia. He's another guy that you'd have under control for a few years. If AJ's going to make a deal, whether it's for an outfielder or for a pitcher, you got to get somebody that's going to be under control. Because you need a left fielder for next year. There's no guarantee Gavin Sheets is going to come back. I would hope Gavin Sheets would come back. I think he's a good player. I think he's really added a lot to this ball club this year. But if you're going to trade for an outfielder or a pitcher, you got to get somebody under control because there's no guarantee for next year. I mean, right now you got Nick Pivetta and Randy Vasquez. Musgrove would come back on an innings restriction. Darvish, you don't know what you're getting. Michael King probably won't be back. I would think that he'd take the $3.5 million if he comes back healthy. Take the $3.5 million in the buyout. Decline the club or the team option he had, the player option for $15 million, and go out on the free agent market. And Dylan Cease not going to be back. In fact, if they trade Dylan Cease, would not surprise me in the least. They want to save some money. They want to save some money. And if they end up on this road trip not doing well, if they were to drop the next, they got 5 games left going into today. If they drop 4 out of 5, they're going to be right there on the fringe of the third wild card. Right now, they're doing okay. But again, this is not a great team. They could implode anytime. They need help. The bench is awful. The bench is non-existent, quite frankly. So they got to get some help here, and they got to get it quickly. And I don't think AJ right now is going to get a whole lot of help from the ownership. So give me your take on that. A couple of the other players, Sandy Alcantara, who pitched today against the Padres, still has 2 years left on his contract. Not the same guy, but I think the further away he gets from Tommy John, you're going to see that command come back. There's a host of teams looking at him: the Cubs, Houston, Boston, Toronto, Arizona, Dodgers, Padres, Baltimore. The other guy that I would like to see come back is Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo's a winner for me. Cubs, Houston, Toronto, Padres, Dodgers. You put him in a Dodger uniform, they're going to be tough. Seth Lugo is a real pro. A real pro. I'm a big Seth Lugo fan. The other name, a couple other names you're going to hear in San Diego. You got Marcell Ozuna, who's on the final year of his contract with Atlanta. Last season, 39 bombs, 104 RBIs at 302. This year, hitting in the mid 230s to 240s. Not hitting with a lot of power. Going to find less playing time. Brian Snitker said that over the weekend. If he's here, he's going to play sparingly. So they're looking to unload Marcell Ozuna. I could see him showing up in San Diego because I think they'd probably give him away. And Luis Robert, who's hitting, a little over 200 right now. Not the same player, always hurt. 28 years of age, 2 years to go on his contract, but it's a club option. They could rent him, but each of the next 2 years, in 26 and 27, he's due $20 million. That'd be $40 million. Padres aren't going to take that. So if they brought him in, it would be for the rest of this year, and then they would decline the team option and let him become a free agent. So those are the names you're going to hear. Okay, let's get to Coach's mailbag here. See what we got today. Sean, I still believe we need to try to find somebody at AAA Phenom and go ahead and bring them up and stick them in the lineup. Sean, I wish we had somebody. I mean, Trenton Brooks was our guy down in AAA. He was tearing it up. He's hitting 150 now. And as I mentioned, he's now 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That's our guy. We brought up Tirso Ornelas early in the year. He was 1 for 14. That was his first trip to the big leagues. But 1 for 14, we brought up Luis Camposano, who was a 250 career hitter at the big league level over the last 5 years. We brought him up. He's 0 for 21. Who do we bring up? Don't tell me Tim Locastro, because he's a pinch runner. Even though he's hitting well in AAA or was hitting well in AAA, he's not the guy. Orlando Gonzalez, we brought him up. He was hitting about 220. They sent him back. He asked for his release, and he signed a deal in Japan. We don't have anybody. That's the problem. We have nobody right now at the upper levels for the Padres to bring up and get some help from. It's unbelievable. Look in the Mexican League. What do we got in the Mexican League? They got a lot of former big leaguers down there right now that might be able to help. Mexican League actually is pretty good, and I'll tell you why, because Rob Manfred now only allows organizations to have 165 players. So a lot of veteran players weren't able to stay in the States to play. So you got a lot of ex-big leaguers who some of them could probably help big league ball clubs. They're playing in the Mexican League right now. Mexican League is very, very strong right now because a lot of former major league players who didn't find jobs in the States this year have gone down there. And Mexico is changed their policy. They used to limit how many non-Mexican players you could have. Now it's pretty much wide open. But that's what I got for you, Sean. They just don't have anything. And the guys they brought up haven't produced. I mean, it's beyond belief how bad they've been, actually. What else we got today? Austin Prather. Enjoy your podcast. Thanks for doing them. It has been helping in my recovery. Austin, I hope every day you're getting a little bit better, my friend. I hope you're doing well, and I'm glad the podcast is helping you get through a very difficult time. You had a very, very serious surgery, and I'm glad you're up and around and enjoying the podcast, and hopefully the Padres are going to win some baseball games for you as well. Okay, what else we got today? Boltman. Oh, man, Boltman. You got to love Boltman. I say don't give up anything. Stay quiet. Keep our guys in the farm. Maybe trade seats to get prospects back. I go back to what I said about 3 weeks ago. And I know right now they're a wild card, and they should be a wild card. I mean, their payroll's over $200 million. It's over $211 million right now. They should be a wild card, but not all their guys are performing. Do you think Fernando's really having a great year? I don't. Arise is having a good year, but not having the year. I mean, this guy's a 319 career hitter, but I'm not banging on Arise because he's hitting in the 280s, approaching 290 right now. He'll probably get to 300. Manny was having a good year, but he's going backwards a little bit. And I talked about how he's leading the league in errors right now with 13 and 2 for 19 going into this final game today in Miami on this road trip. He had the grand slam, but 2 for 19 left a lot of runners on base right now. And we don't get nothing from the catcher spot. Bogarts has come alive, doing a good job, I think. Cronenworth, average major league player for me, as I mentioned earlier. Merrill has not had what we expected. He's hitting about 260 right now. Not a lot of power. What's he got? 8 home runs right now, I think. So, some guys need to step it up, and you're getting nothing from the bench. The bench is non-existent. I can't believe how bad this bench is. I mean, non-existent whatsoever. But it wouldn't surprise me. But again, going back, they can get in the play, but how far are they going to really go? Really, where are they going to go? Wouldn't it be better maybe to trade all these guys that are going to be free agents, get something back, and start looking ahead to 2026? If you're not going to spend money, let's regroup, because next year could be ugly. Next year could be really, really ugly if we don't get some players in here. So, anyways, and again, AJ can only do what ownership will allow him to do, and to this point, doesn't look like they're going to do a whole lot. They made a lot of mistakes, so let's face it, they made a lot of mistakes on bringing in ball players that can't play. All right, what else? We got anything else today? Oh, yes, we do. Hey, Coach, I miss the attitude and fight of guys like Profar. This Padre lineup is comprised of gentlemen who compliment the opposing pitcher in post-game interviews. Yeah, way too much tipping of the cap. And Mike Schilt, he got to be a little bit more honest with you fans and with the media. Last night he's talking, oh, man, we had a great fight. We came back. Mike, you had a guy on second base with nobody out, and he never got to third base. That was a tying run. How about Cronenworth pulling a ground ball to second? They still probably wouldn't have scored because Iglesias struck out on 3 pitches and looked terrible doing it. But you had a guy on second base. You had the tying run on second after Merrill has the 2-run double, and he not got past second base. Didn't get him to third base to where he could score on a wild pitch or a pass ball. He's talking about we had great fight. That's a bunch of crap. Find a way to get the job done, or just say, hey, you know what? We got to do a better job of getting that guy in with nobody out, critical situation. We got to do a better job. We got to find a way to get that guy in. Good ball clubs get that done. But no, oh man, we had a great fight. Hey, there's no moral victories in professional sports, folks. You can say, well, we made a great comeback. Well, you know what? If you're not going to play hard, then you shouldn't be on the field anyways. We're not out there trying to win popularity contests. And last night he's talking, yeah, we played, we had that fight again. Yeah, you had the fight, but you came up short, and you still had a great opportunity to tie that ball game up. But you didn't do squat. They scored 2 runs, leave the guy at second base, ball game over. And they were 3 of the worst at bats you would ever see. If you watch the game, they were 3 of the worst at bats you'd ever see. I mean, Cronenworth pops up to the shortstop. Jose Iglesias, who's a tough out normally, struck out on 3 pitches. In the last one, he'd have needed an oar from a boat to try to hit it. It was so far outside. I mean, it wasn't even close. A big sweeper. And then Trenton Brooks comes up and he pops up to the shortstop. Don't be afraid to hit the ball on the ground somewhere. Maybe it'll scoot through the infield. I mean, that was just brutal. And they had a chance after a great rally. Sheets gets on, Bogarts doubles, Merrill doubles, drives in 2 runs, makes it 4-3. Runner on second, nobody out. You're feeling, man, Padres are going to come back. These are the type of games Padres can win. And they squandered it and blew it. Just terrible. Terrible. I hate to get on the ball club, but man, that's just crap baseball. You got to find a way to get that guy to third base and get him in. I mean, if you get him to third base with one out, you got a guy like Iglesias up there. And how many times has Mike Schilt had the safety squeeze this year? Multiple, right? He had it twice last week in a game where Diaz did a great job. Maldonado's done it. They've all done it, except the guys in the middle of the order. The guys in the latter part of the order have done a great job for the most part in that area. But, Cronenworth pops up. Just get a line driver. Get the guy to third base one way or the other. If Cronenworth got traded tomorrow, I'm not overly concerned about that. I've seen enough of him. I really have. I think he's done overall, I think, a pretty decent job in San Diego, but I want to move on. And I want to save the money that we're paying him because very average major league player. If you can't hit 250, then I don't want you on my ball club. Okay, I guess there'd be not a lot of guys on my ball club from the Padres. I mean, you got to find a way. If you're going to hit 240, you got better be hitting about 25 to 30 bombs for me, or hit me 50 doubles. I just don't see it. All right, reminder: subscribe to the channel. I was kind of negative today, and I don't like to be negative, but Chargers ticked me off. Padres last night ticked me off. This ball club teases us, folks. They tease us. Because if they get in the playoffs, who knows? Maybe they could go crazy, but I don't think so. There's too many other good teams, really good teams. And as bad as the Dodgers are, Dodgers got a lot of talent, and Dodgers know how to turn it on. I'm not sure the Padres know how to turn it on. Philadelphia is tough. The Mets are tough. The Cubs are tough. Milwaukee finally got beat last night. They'd have won 11 games. Milwaukee right now might be the best team in the National League. They may be the best team in baseball, even better than the Detroit Tigers right now. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like and please send your comments. We'll be back in on Friday morning at 9 a.m. and we'll rehash today's game. We'll rehash Thursday's game and get you ready for a big weekend with the Padres. They'll have 3 more on Friday, Saturday, Sunday in St. Louis. Again, that's a 4-game series that starts on Thursday night. It'll be Yu Darvish going against Sonny Gray. Make sure you like, subscribe, and send your comments. Talk to you again on Friday morning at 9 a.m. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.